we got a new sick Secret Noble Knight combo. Right, so starting off, we run 3 of the new one, which is Infernoble Knight Ogier. He's the Armageddon Knight, and he mills any Noble Knight monster or Noble Arms spell card, or equip spell card, and he's got a recursion effect where he brings himself back as a spell, and equips itself to a fire warrior that you control, and protects them from being destroyed. Then we run 3 Oliver. Oliver's very much the same, where he brings himself back, but he protects them from being targeted. And his effect to summon himself at the cost of discarding or sending an equipped spell or a fire warrior monster is brilliant, especially in conjunction with Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, because it means that you have essentially, with Jet Synchron on this, just 3 discards. We then run 3 Renaud, who's similar to Oliver in the sense that he brings himself out of the hand, but he treats himself as a tuner, so he's great to get in your opening hand or search. And when he does that, he brings back an equipped spell or a fire warrior from the grave. So yeah, they're just all really good utility cards that just allow themselves to be used in any conjunction, which is why it's good to run a 60 card engine, because you only really need to see one of them to get your engines going, because you'll so easily search the other ones. For the one-offs, we run 1 Roland. He's not very good, and you could arguably cut him, but I like him because during the end phase you're searching one off the big Roland, so he's the best to search because he's just a quick play, a quick effect equip from your hand that gives something 500 attack and triggers your Charles. So you're getting a pop, but he's cuttable because the big Roland sort of does the same thing, but it's just in these situations where your other Roland is banished or you can't get it to it or something. And then we run a Astolfo, just again brings itself out of the hand by banishing one from the grave, and it can take on the level. So he's really good in sort of awkward sticky hands where you need a bit of level modulation. And you can banish him from the grave as well as soon as he's there, and you get to summon himself back and a fire warrior during your second standby phase, so if the game goes on that long, he can provide a bit of recursion for you. So that's it for all the Infernoble Knights. For starter cards, we then run 3 Sublimation Knight and 1 Squeaknight. So essentially what this card does, it equips Squeaknight to itself from the deck, and then Squeaknight's effect lets itself to summon, and then you've got your 2 warriors for Isolde. You could play Neospace Connector and Dolphin, and I think I'm going to test out both, because this was infinitely better when people weren't playing Ogre, but now people are playing Ogre because of Numeron. Ogre just shuts this card down completely, whereas with Connector you still at least get the Dolphin. So it's just something to think about. And then you also run 3 Fire Flint Lady. This is one of my favourite cards in the deck. It's just a free summon from the hand if you control a warrior, and you can send it to the grave and summon a level 4 or lower warrior from your hand, and it can't be targeted. So that's pretty cool. Like if you're afraid of hand traps, sometimes you can even just summon this and discard it, and then you can get out your Sub Knight, and your Sub Knight's not going to be able to be targeted by your opponent's cards, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's just a great extender. And then you of course run 3 Phoenix Gearfried, your best main deck monster. You want to bring this out as your 4th summon because it's protecting you against Nibiru. And its attack effect sort of unlike anything in the game. It's a bit like Borrowload, but it equips the monster and it's non-targeting, so it's excellent for removing sort of sticky things that you can't really get around. It's just all around great card. And then onto the sort of more spicier part of the deck, we've got the Ignites. So we run a pretty heavy Ignite package of 3 Crusader, 3 Squire, 3 Templar, 3 Paladin, 3 Cavalier and 3 Gallant, so 18 Ignites. So 30 your deck is Ignites. The Ignites sort of speak for themselves. They're non-once per turn searches for literally any card in your deck. Like all the cards up to these now have been Fire Warriors, so it's whatever you need. They're also great to pendulum summon if you have a lot of them in your hand, because you can make your Isolde that way. They're great ash bait as well for people who don't read, because if you ash this, you just go, okay, I'll do the effect again. There's no real reasoning for playing these other than these are all the ones you can normal summon, so it means that if your hand's actually dead and you open these, at least you can still summon it and maybe do something. And then these are the other ones with the highest attack. Then the last 2 monsters we play are 1 Jet Synchron and 1 Orion, because we run Auroradon and Needle Fiber and take advantage of that, and these are the best 2 ones. Jet Synchron especially because you're just going to be discarding your Phoenix Blade, so it's essentially free. Onto spells, we run 3 Heritage of the Chalice. Now this searches any Noble Knight monster or Noble Arms card in your deck, and it's fantastic. And its graveyard effect's really good as well, where it adds itself back, but you can't do that the same turn. So you just have to remember that's in your grave and you get it back for next turn. It's great. And then we run 3 of the best Noble Knight equip spell, the new Infernoble Arms Durendal. This is fantastic. You can equip it to any monster on the field, so your opponent's monsters, send it to the grave, search a level 5 or lower fire warrior monster. And this other effect doesn't come up too much because it locks you into warriors, but it's there if you need it. But yeah, Durendal's fantastic. It's really good, baiting out negates and stuff like that. Then we run one Noble Arms Joyeuse. Joyeuse is okay. It's another Noble Arms name, which is good, and its effect's not too bad. But yeah, it's just a one-off. You don't really want to see it. We then run the only original Noble Arms card, which is one Arfeudytr. This card's really good because it's just a pop of any set card at the cost of reducing the attack of a monster by 500. But if you're doing this, the monster's probably not going to stick around anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And it re-equips itself, so you can essentially get 2 free pops if your board's set up right. Then we run one Smoke Grenade of the Thief. This is the card that really elevates the deck. It's the sort of random card from umpteen years ago that no one expects to be relevant again. So what this does is when it's destroyed while equipped to something, you look at your opponent's hand and discard a card. And this is brilliant now because we have Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles, who can equip one and then destroy a card when something's equipped. So you're essentially, most of the time, if you do your combo right, you're ripping a card out of the hand first turn and getting all the knowledge, which is absolutely amazing. The hand is such a sacred resource in Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's fantastic when cards like this come along and can abuse that. Phoenix Blade, just brilliant card. Like, until you play the deck, you don't realise how good this card is. Having 3 discards is amazing, and to an extent I can understand why the OCG banned it, because it's just brilliant. And then the last equip is one Living Fossil. I wanted to run 8 equips, so I could always make sure that I had 4 in the deck. And Living Fossil is just like the best one. You could run DDR, but I like Living Fossil to bring stuff back from the grave. Then onto your sort of 1-for-1s, you run one Rota because it's a warrior deck, one 1-for-1 because Renaud is level 1 and you really want to see access to your Renaud. You don't really want to bring it off your Isolde, you want to sort of bring Ogier or Oliver if you haven't got access to him, but this is a good way to get to it. And then one Monster Reborn. I like Monster Reborn in this deck because it's a combo deck that essentially sends a lot of its cards to the graveyard, so it's great where you can send a Gearfried if this is in your hand and just bring it back and guarantee that you're not getting a Gearfried. Then we run 3 of my new favourite card, which is Triple Tactics Talent. This card's fantastic. It does everything. It doesn't really need any explanation, but yeah, brilliant card. And then it's a 60 card deck, so why not run Desires? Just the 2. It's great when you banish your Ignites off this, it's just 3 cards. And yeah, so that's the 60 card list. If you wanted to change the list to be a more of a sort of concise 40 card list, I'd recommend just cutting the Ignites and then the 2 Desires. And then you've just got a straight 40 card deck which you can work with. Starting off, we run 2 Isolde, the best card in the deck, just gets all your players going, does everything. It's great as well with the Ignites because you get a value out of the card list searches. So you can search a warrior, but you can't normal it or activate effects or anything like that. So if you search an Ignite, you just activate it as a spell and get either a free search or a pendulum summon or something. It's brilliant. One Linkross. Linkross is great. You make it off the Isolde and then you can go into Formula Synchron and then Metal Marcher and then Needle Fibre and all those kind of crazy plays. It's just a great card. Needle Fibre needs no introduction. Auroradon, almost as infamous as Needle Fibre. It's great as well with this because you can destroy itself and then pop a smoke grenade that you already have if you opened it, which is pretty big. And then the one Apollousa, it doesn't come up much, but if you've got one of those games where you've just got everything and you're going first, you can make this essentially for free and then still have a full board of like a Savage and a Charles, and you've took a card out of the hand and everything. It's great. So next we run Formula Synchron and a Metal Marcher. It's just fairly standard. Formula Synchron's a free draw and Marcher gets you to your Auroradon. We run a Herald. Again, it's for those hands where you have everything, and it's a nice thing to bring out as a 5th if you're worried about the Nibiru. One Roland. It annoys me that this card's common, but this card's great. You activate it when it's summoned to get a card to your hand, which is always the baby Roland, and then it equips itself from the grave, so it triggers off your Charles in their main phase. One Launsallyn. This card doesn't come up much, but it comes up in those clunky hands, so like you make this, and it equips a Noble Arms from the deck, so it can get you to whatever you need through equipping Durendal. But yeah, it doesn't come up much, but when it does, it usually helps you out. One Coral Dragon, because you go, Charles is level 9, and you can bring this out off the Auroradon tokens to give you a free draw or pop something if you go in second. One Borrowed Savage standard. One Charles, the new boss card of the deck. This card's great. Equips one by sending one and pops one when something's equipped. So this is the card that triggers your smoke grenade and it gives you a pop on your opponent's turn as well. And then the last card is one Sacred Noble King, or Noble Knight of King Custenin. This card doesn't come up much either, but when it does it's cool. So it's 2 or more level 4 Noble Knights, and you can detach any number to bounce that same amount of cards. So it's pretty cool. It doesn't come up, but I like to have it there. Okay, so we've discovered a really sick 2-card combo where these are the 2 cards. That can also be a Durendal, and it means with the Ignites and the Heritages you have 31 ways in your deck to get to this. So you have a 50.5% chance of getting to it, which is fantastic. So you want to start off by normal summon the Ogier. That's going to mill you the Gearfried. You then summon your Renaud. Renaud adds back the Gearfried. And since this is treated as a tuner, you can synchro level 5 for your Launsallyn, who when summoned will equip Durendal from deck. Durendal then procs, letting you get the Astolfo to hand. Then you banish the Durendal to summon the Gearfried, and then you equip the Ogier to the Gearfried. So now you're not getting hand trapped, you're not getting the Beerud, you're free to carry on. So you banish the Renaud for the Astolfo, and that's your 2 warriors for your Isolde. For your Isolde. Isolde search, best to just search and ignite because you're going to have another 3 cards in hand, so chances are you're going to be able to further extend. So the ignite's the best value. You're then going to use the effect binning 4 equips. Make sure you bin Phoenix Blade and Grenade because they're the ones that come up later. This lets you summon your level 4 Oliver. Now you get rid of your Isolde for your Linkross. Linkross effect gets you your 2 Link tokens, who are both level 1. So now since your Oliver's a tuner, you can link these off into your Halqifibrax, which will summon your Jet Synchron straight from deck. And now you can use Jet Synchron and one of your tokens to make your Formula Synchron. Now Formula Synchron is going to draw you a card, and this is where some of the best parts of the combo is, because with this now you're going to end on 6 cards in hand with your full stack board. So you'll soon see. So we're going to turn these into the Auroradon. Auroradon's going to get us 3 level 3 tokens. So now you're going to use the Auroradon effect, pop in itself and one of the tokens that it summoned to get out your Oleon from the deck. And from here you've got your level 2 tuner, 2 level 3 vanillas and a level 1. So you're going to want to make your Roland for a level 5 synchro. And now you can chain block your Roland effect, which is ashable by the way. So you chain block this by using this as well. So chaining 1 Roland, chaining 2 Olion. So you get back another Mecha Phantom Beast token, and you're searching a card in the end phase. So now with this, you've still got your Linkross token, which is a level 1. So you're going to sync that off with your Roland, who is a tuner, for your Coral Dragon, and then Coral Dragon straight away into your Charles. Now you're going to draw one off the Coral Dragon as well. So that's 2 cards you've netted for doing this combo. So now you're going to use the effect of your Phoenix Blade in the graveyard. So you banish your Launsallyn and your Astolfo to add it back to hand, and then discard it for a Jet Synchron. And now finally you end on a Jet Synchron and the token, which lets you make a Herald. So now you use the effect of Oliver to equip to your Charles, and he's protected. So now you've ended on an effect negate, an Omni negate that's also a pseudo floodgate. So now we use the Roland's effect in the grave, which was activated earlier in the turn. So we send the Durendal, which is banished, and we add the baby Roland from our deck to our hand. So this now gives us 2 ways to trigger Charlemagne's pop in their turn. So then we use the Charles effect, where we equip Ogier from him to the deck, and then we also equip Smoke Grenade from our graveyard, and then Charles effect triggers, meaning that since a card was equipped we can destroy a card on the field, so we straight away destroy the Smoke Grenade, which then triggers letting us look at our opponent's hand, and since Herald is on the field, banish a card from it. So you're ending on banishing a card from your opponent's hand, you have all the knowledge of what's in their hand, you have an untargetable, undestroyable by card effect Charles, you have a Gearfried that's undestroyable by card effects which can negate a monster effect, you have an Omni negating pseudo floodgating Herald, you have a pop on their turn in Charles, and you've added these 2 cards to your hand, you drew these cards, and you also have the other 3 cards that you drew with your starting hand. So since you'd have to discard 1, this is a 2 card combo that leaves you with 6 cards in your hand, with 1 search and 2 draws, 2 negates, a pop on their turn, and a banish out of their hand with all the full knowledge of what's in their hand. So that was our 2-card Infernoble Knight combo. Who'd have thought 6 years ago that Noble Knights could ever do anything as good as that? So make sure you like and comment and subscribe if you're new around here. Leave any suggestions or improvements in the comments. We'll be sure to endeavour to answer them all. Thanks for watching.